Well, good morning, and thank you all so much for being here. Pardon the noise, but you know what? It's music to our ears this morning because this is progress in the heart of New Orleans East, and in a location particularly that has been an armpit in this community for a mighty long time, and one that, coming into office as your mayor 2 years ago, had as a priority to deal with. But I did not have that priority alone. It was in collaboration and in partnership with Councilwoman Cindy Wynn, as we have been since day one. And even prior to being elected to a city councilwoman, Cindy Wynn was boots on the ground, no stranger to the community, nor getting things done, delivering results. And that's what we're doing collectively here this morning. A huge win. Blight eradication remains a priority for the city. Oftentimes it's not as easy as it looks. You think just go in and knock it down. Well, we can't just do that. We have to follow proper protocols, procedures, guidelines, and particularly when we're using even public money, and in many cases CDBG money and federal money, to make these things happen. I put this challenge out to my director of code enforcement, Mr. Winston Reed. And Winston, I don't know why you're standing over there. You can do 6 feet behind here, because you're delivering for us every single day, not only with strategic demolitions, but just enforcement across the board. And I want to thank you, and I want to thank your team for all that you're consistently doing for our city. So without further ado, I'm going to ask Councilwoman Cindy Wynn to come say a few words, because as I mentioned, this was a project that was a priority, getting blight and trash out of our people's eyes. And so there's so much more to come. I have challenged even more of my staff and my leadership team to come up with a truly an effective lot mitigation strategy as it relates to overgrown lots, dumping sites throughout the city that has remained a huge challenge for us to get our arms around. As we go and demonstrate progress, here comes somebody dumping all over again, trashing the work, but also having an impact on the precious dollars that we have to spend to do the work. So this is also a plea to the community. Don't dump our city. Don't trash our city. When you see us making real progress to clean it up, help us sustain that progress. And if you can't help us, don't hurt us. Don't trash us. It costs money to deliver, and we're committed to it, but we cannot do this alone. So without further ado, I'm going to ask my councilwoman to come on up, say a few words, and we're going to hear from Winston, and then we're going to do a quick little groundbreaking bam on this project.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you all for being here. Today is definitely a day for the work that has been done, as the Mayor indicated, since day one that we've been in office, beautifying our neighborhoods from the east to the low 9. It is a priority for us, and we're going to continue to stay very focused on what we need to do to move District E forward. I want to thank the Mayor and her team, particularly Winston Reed and his team, for receiving all sorts of emails, calls from us as we receive concerns from community members. And I also want to do a shout out to community members that has been at the front line with us, understanding that we need to all work together to get things done. As the Mayor indicated, we clean up almost every other day, from community cleanup in Rosedale, in Idlewood, in the lower 9, and everywhere in the district. I ask community members to join the fight with us, to join the work with us, to be alert in your area. If you see illegal dumping, please notify 911. We need to put a stop to this. but we're all going to work together. And again, I am extremely grateful for the partnership with this administration being at the forefront in addressing beautification and erecting illegal dumping in areas that really needs to get addressed, on that way we can move the district forward. I'm eager to hear from Winston Reed, because I know he has some amazing good news for us.
Thank you very much. First of all, Madam Mayor and Councilwoman, I appreciate your leadership. It's your drive that made this happen. I will be remiss if I do not take time to thank my city partner, worker, Warren Jones, for your leadership, for your commitment. Keep belaboring the point of commitment. The mayor made this commitment early on. And she said, Winston, I want it done. And then if you know the mayor, there are no excuses. And so we got this done because she wanted it to be done for District E. And just to show you, we're not doing this and not thinking it's not in a vacuum. We're doing this by leveraging other resources. There was a lot of illegal dumping out here. And so we partnered with other city agencies to remove this and do this in a comprehensive fashion, to be more strategic and place-based by our approach. So again, as we move and we start upticking, if you will, and increasing our level, and you'll see the visibility and the impacts of more eradication in District E and throughout the city. But again, I want to thank everybody for doing their part, and as the mayor and the councilwoman has called on you, we cannot do this without you. The leveraging point is the citizen participation. So with that, we can get a lot done. I'm looking for a whole lot more to come. And again, just stay tuned. Again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Winston. Thank you so much. All right, now, Mr. Tanya, we're going to take a question, or we're going to do our little bam. We're good?
Let's take one or two questions.
Any questions on this?
Many of the buildings, who owns the buildings, and the city council?
Oh, Lord have mercy. It's definitely a strategy. The city doesn't own this property. It's been abandoned. Definitely a real issue with the ownership. But this is exactly the reason why many of our residents in New Orleans East, they just don't like this housing units, because this is what they see. And so we're definitely turning that map around, ensuring that what comes is quality, affordable housing that anyone would want to live in. And so this is years really in the making, and we're saying no more. So this has been a challenge, and even to bring these properties down, to do the demolition, we have had to be strategic in finding the necessary resources to do it, because the ownership isn't taking responsibility for the property that they have. And so we're moving forward through that. Winston, you want to speak anything in particular to this? We're just moving it through the process, adjudication that could end up being auctioned and sold. But that's the process that we have to follow as government.
Yeah, I know it's for the mayor and Mr. Reed, but there are a lot of vacant buildings around town that are in pretty bad shape. So at what point does the city step in and get more aggressive about vacant properties that have become kind of a nuisance to neighbors?
Sure. I think one, it's a clear understanding of what the process is, and a clear understanding of what laws that have to be followed, both at the state level, that hampers the city, quite frankly. And it's a long, arduous process that we have to follow to get to the point to where we can not only do liens, because we do liens, but the liens don't necessarily turn that property or place it back into commerce, because the ownership can allow the liens to stack up and to stack up. Then we have to move forward with an adjudication process, having liens. So it's a long, again, arduous process that we have to live with as a city, and we get tarnished by saying we're allowing it, but we're working the process. And while we're doing that, the property can still be an eyesore to the community. And so also, as relates to finding the additional resources to actually do it, that's a challenge, because again, this is private property in a city that is not allowing it But when you look at the liens that we do have on the books for many of these properties throughout the city, we're doing our part. But it doesn't necessarily trigger that property back into commerce like you would expect. Some don't even realize that these are assets. Property is an asset. And then we have to understand how post-Katrina, we were impacted significantly, and in many cases, communities got screwed. That was landlord, that was rental properties, that was your small-time landlord properties, double singles, and that was regular homeowners that did not get their fair share to rebuild their properties nor their family's property. If you didn't have the right for title, you couldn't do anything. So we're still living with those decisions, and we're living with the consequences of a lot of decisions that were made right after Katrina that we didn't have a say in, but we have to own the reality. And our way of owning it is looking at creative ways to mitigate blight, overgrown lots, even help our families, because not every blighted property is created equal. So you do have families that still want to rebuild their property or their family's asset, and they need help. So we as a city, like, we fund, for example, your South East Louisiana, the law, the Legal Institute, the nonprofit that helps our residents go through the legal process to therefore mitigate their property, get right for title, and that sort of thing. So it's a multifaceted challenge. And I think Warren, who I've charged him with coming up with a strategy to deal with all this overgrown lots and mowing grass in the city, because it's various different agencies are even responsible. So we're looking at this holistically. I just want it done. I don't want excuses, and I don't want to give you them, but these are real challenges that we're faced with. But the city is taking it seriously. We're very aggressive, and we're not going to stop. But we also recognize that we need the public to do their part. If they own a blighted property and they need help, say something. If they need help getting right for title, let's do that. It's an asset that can also be a tool for people to build wealth and transferable wealth that their ancestors worked for to own in the first place. So it's many different challenges, but we're here to help our people by meeting them where they are to get it done. And when we can't, we find a way to do it ourselves. So thank you so much. All right, that's enough on that. We got to get this. Okay, so Councilwoman, we're going to stand right here by this red thing. Come on. Thank you.